Good evening, everybody. Good evening and welcome. Welcome to part two of our live broadcast that we kicked off yesterday. How to avoid attracting what you don't want in your life. And so, welcome to day two. I hope you had an incredible time yesterday. We had a lot of fun yesterday, so I'm excited about today. Those of you who were not with us yesterday, it's okay because the replay is still on my timeline. And so tonight we're going to delve into part two. But if you did not see part one, not a problem. Go ahead and after this live broadcast, go ahead and watch the replay. So good evening and welcome, everybody. Come on in and join the discussion. Like I said last night, I promise you are going to be extremely blessed and you are going to walk away re-energized. I was so impressed with the comments from yesterday. And so tonight, again, it is my prayer that the spirit of wisdom, the spirit of understanding, the spirit of knowledge just really falls upon you with the spirit of counsel, right? And so as people are going ahead, joining in, I don't want to start too early, but I'm not going to delay or belabor the moment. But as you all are joining in, do me a huge favor and type in your name. And do me a favor, type in your city as well, because I know we have women that crisscross this country and even internationally join into the broadcast. So I just want to really quickly shout you out, your name and your city, so that we can do that. And so while you are getting ready to type in your name and your city, you know what? Share this broadcast. You all shared it last night. Thank you so much. But share part two as well. And so tonight, like I said, I want to help you help you not attract what you don't want in your life. And so again, after tonight, you will be motivated to just really make some decisions. Do I want to be average or do I want to be stellar? Do I want to be average or do I want to be excellent? Do I want to be average, mediocre, or do I want to be well beyond the average person? Because like I said last night, nothing, I mean, absolutely nothing is cute about being average, okay? And so I'm excited about that. And for those of you who are new to the platform, because I know we have people chiming in on Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, as well as YouTube. And so those of you who are new to the platform, my name is LaShonda Lee. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a mother. I'm a pastor's wife. I'm a first lady. I'm a coach as well as a leadership expert. And my passion is seeing women become their beautiful, authentic self. And my contribution in making that happen is to help women who struggle with getting unstuck discover resilience so they own their brilliance and live their life free from fear, guilt, and apologies. And so whether a woman is stuck in her spiritual, personal, professional life, I make it my business to create unique action plans specifically for her to help her get from where it is she's standing at that present moment to where she wants to be standing so that she can experience happiness, success, and total fulfillment in life. And again, go ahead and type in your name, your city and state. I just want to be able to shout you out. And so, like I said last night, if if you want an average life, then go ahead and copy the masses. But if you want an extraordinary life, you got to go in the opposite direction. So when they zig, you zag. When they zag, you zig. All right. And so we're going to cover the second portions of the broadcast that we started yesterday. And so again, hopefully you all can type in. Let me take a look because I see that you all are here, but I don't see any comments yet. And if you haven't already done so, grab something to write with and grab something to write on, because you do want to take some notes. Because as I'm going through the second half of this, I want you to be able to see if any of this is holding you back. Because, you know, they say doing the same thing and expecting a different result is insanity. So we want to do something different so we can get something different. Hey, Karen from Colorado Springs, welcome, welcome, welcome. And so, Karen, if you wasn't with us last night, it's not a problem because you can get a chance to go to to my timeline, and you can get the what I shared yesterday. And so listen, let's go ahead and jump into this thing. Yesterday I was telling the ladies that the path to success requires you really going against the norm. It requires you doing the unpopular thing, the unreasonable thing, and the unorthodox thing. It requires being the exception to the rule and not just following the standards and accepted practices, traditions, and rituals, right? One of my mentors said, LaShonda, if the majority of the people are going south, you definitely better go north. So going in the opposite direction, it suggests that the only way you will ever achieve the success that you desire to create in your life is you got to walk a different path than the masses. And so there were 16 things that I was going to share with you. I did the first 8 yesterday, and today, you're welcome, Karen. And so today I'm going to finish it off by doing the last 8. And so again, I told the women yesterday, and I'll tell you today, if you're going to take this route and go against the masses, you must consistently ask yourself 2 questions, and you all can type this in. The first question that you must ask yourself is, what does the majority typically do in this situation? Because see, you don't want to be average. And so whatever the average person is doing, you can't afford to do that, because then you will get the average results. We want excellent results. And excellence means you doing the best that you can at this present moment. And then the second question that you want to ask yourself is, what results do these people normally get in this situation? So again, I used the example yesterday. If there's a situation brewing at work and it's not pleasant, well, what would the average person do in that situation? And what would the average results be for that person? That way, if you know the average person would do A, you do B, so that you don't get the results that the person A would be getting. Hey, Annette, Kansas City, thank you so much for joining tonight. And so again, I want to make sure that you are not being average. And so tonight I'm going to explore those final choices, because it is all about your choices that you make. You are the sum of the choices. And so yesterday I listed the 8 choices that average people make that get them average results. Okay. Tonight I'm going to finish it off, because my goal is to make you aware. And I believe once you become aware of how the average person thinks and lives their life, you can make a different set of choices to help you live a more optimal, successful, and rewarding existence. So let's jump into point number 9. Okay. If you don't have the first 8, don't worry about it. Go and get them from the broadcast that I did yesterday. So let's jump into point number 9. Most people focus on what is not working. Average people focus on what is not working. The average person is happy and carefree when things are going their way. In fact, they feel like they're unstoppable when the world is conspiring in their favor. You heard that the universe is conspiring to help me. Good. It should be, right? However, the moment things go wrong and the world begins to work against them, that is the moment when they break down emotionally and become very erratic and reactive to everything. There is no logic. There is no focus. There's no guidance. There's no plan of attack. It is all in emotion. So instead of trying to find a solution to their problem, again, we're talking about what the average person does. And like I gave an example yesterday, an average person, if you look at a number line, 1 to 10, well, average is in the middle, 5. So when an average person is, you're the best of the worst, but you're the worst of the best. And so if you're 5, you're better than 1 through 4. But if you're 5, you're less than 6 through 10. So you're the best of the worst, 1 through 4, but you're the worst of the best, 6 through 10. You don't want to be average. Become allergic to being average. And so again, Instead of trying to find a solution to their problem, the average person will choose to focus on the negatives of the situation. They will choose to focus on what is not working and what cannot be done instead of really just taking responsibility for their problem and working towards the situation. I'm not saying you're the reason for the problem, but if it's at your doorstep, you got to figure it out. And so this vicious cycle of focusing on what's not working literally keeps them stuck and unable to successfully move through various challenges they face. Prime example. Now, like I told you, during the morning time, everything I talk about is spiritual development. During the evening, I focus on personal and professional development. But I got to put a little spiritual piece up in here. The Bible says, for this particular situation, the Bible says, speak those things that be not as though they were. So the Bible does not say speak those things that are as they are, because if you speak the things that are as they are, nothing changes. So the Bible is not asking you to lie, but it's saying, listen, whatever you focus on grows. So if you focus on the negatives, then more negatives will be what you see. So the Bible says, look beyond your situation and speak what you want to see. So speak those things that be not as though they were, because when you do that, it will eventually be. For example, the Bible says that the Spirit of the Lord hovered around the earth and it was dark, but it wasn't until God spoke and said, let there be light, that light showed up. So the Spirit of God was waiting on God to speak. And so you can't just continue to do what an average person does if you want to hit your goals. So again, point number 9 is most people focus on what is not working. And so what advice do Coach LaShonda have for you? I want you to do the opposite. Challenge yourself to stay positive, calm, and mindful when problems arise. You hear what I say? Challenge yourself to stay positive. And somebody write these in if you can. Challenge yourself to stay positive, calm, and mindful when problems arise. Also, develop your emotional intelligence to help you handle difficulties in more optimal ways. You know, I went to a hospital in Salina, their regional hospital, and I trained their staff on emotional intelligence, not because they didn't have the proper emotional intelligence to deal with their patients, but the leadership wanted to make sure that they had the proper emotional intelligence to deal with each other as far as coworkers. And so 80% of your success in the workplace or any environment is going to derive from you increasing and developing your emotional intelligence. And so if you all need assistance in that, I can do some trainings on developing your emotional intelligence. It's 4 components to it, and I can definitely do a broadcast on emotional intelligence. If that's something that you all want, just go ahead and type emotional intelligence into the comments, and I'll do that. All right. So that was point number 9. Number 10. Most people complain about everything. So not only do they see the negatives, they complain. Here we go again. Remember, the children of Israel, their field trip was canceled to the promised land because of their complaining. And so when things are not working in their favor, and at the end of the day, all of us find ourselves, as long as we're inhaling and exhaling, stuff is not going to go the way we want it to go. And that's why we're taught that it goes to the one who can endure to the end. And so when things are not working in their favor and when their problems get too overwhelming and out of control, the average person will attempt to make themselves feel better by complaining about the situation. They will complain about what didn't work, about how others have wronged or mistreated them, about not having enough love, time, happiness, money, respect, and a plethora of other problems and inconveniences, right? That's what average people do. The average person will complain and talk about their problems all day long. You know somebody like that? Do you know somebody like that? When you see them coming, you be like, oh, hey girl, how you doing? Yeah, I got something to be. Look, can I get back with you a little bit later? You know, you trying to divert, you know, you're trying to pivot because you don't want to hear it. right? And they will talk about their problems all day long to anyone who will listen, all in an attempt to win the sympathy of others. This is where I tell women, look, we're not trying to be a victim of our circumstances. We want to be a victor because you're already more than a conqueror. And so, um, they do absolutely nothing about the problem. And it's so interesting because when I teach women in leadership, I walk them through this problem solving process because I'm like, listen, when it comes to problems and you have to make a decision, the last thing that you want to do is make it out of emotions. Because if things don't go well, you don't have a reference point to go back to and figure out, okay, let me tweak this. So I teach them a process. It's a 7-step process on how to solve problems. But when you don't know how to solve problems, I can see how it will get you emotional. And so they do nothing about the problems. They make no attempt to fix things or improve the situation in any way. And part of it is because they don't know how. They instead look to others to help provide them with solutions. But what may work for you may not work for me. Right? They have problems in the first place because they have made mistakes along the way. However, since they take no responsibility, and we talked about this yesterday, they simply don't own up to what happened, and therefore they don't feel obliged to rectify things. And what's even worse, that they don't hold themselves accountable for their choices, decisions, and actions. Again, what did I say? I'm trying to help you tonight to avoid attracting into your life what you really don't want. And you may say, LaShonda, these are real simple concepts that you're talking about. Yeah, they're simple. And that's why it can trip you up because they're so simple that you kind of let it pass by. You know, it's almost like a dripping faucet. It doesn't look like much until after a long extended period of time, you see it has rusted your sink, right? And so that's how simple these pointers are. Is designed to trick you and deceive you, and you don't realize that you're just coasting in life, and eventually you're going to come to a dead end. And so they don't take those actions, and as a result they fail to learn from their experiences. They tend to repeat the same mistakes over and over and over again. They go around the same mountain. When situations show up in my life, hey, Marquita, when situations show up in my life and they're not pleasant, one of the things I say, Lord, what is the lesson that you want me to learn from this? Because I don't want to do this lesson again. I don't want you to have to put me in a situation where another situation where you got to teach me this lesson again. So Lord, what is it that I need to course correct? Right? And so what is Coach LaShonda's advice on being able to overcome point number 10? And those of you who just joined, I did 1 through 8 yesterday. I'm doing 9 through 16 today, and that will finish this 2-part series. Okay. I want you again to do the opposite. Do the opposite of what the average person does. And if you just joined, I talked about average, what it means to really be average. I talked about it yesterday and I started opening up with it today. I want you to immediately stop complaining and start taking responsibility for your predicament. You may have a whole lot to complain about, but is it going to get you anywhere? People can say what should have happened, but the reality, it didn't. So let's deal with the reality. It didn't. Because if you talk about what should have taken place, you could talk about what should have taken place like 20 hours and it changes nothing. Focus on what did and how you can change it. So immediately stop complaining and start taking responsibility for the predicament. Also, take the time to learn from the experience so that you can make better future decisions. Like I said yesterday, Thomas Edison, let me get my thing. Thomas Edison, you know him. He's the one that said, let there be light again. And they said, you failed 10,000 times trying to get this light bulb to work. And he said, no, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I learned 10,000 ways it didn't work. See the difference? He took those mishaps and turn them into learning experiences so that they could be better. All right. Point number 11. We're moving along today. Point number 11. Most people make excuses instead of progress. The average person make excuses instead of progress, and they wonder why they're either stagnant or regressing. So if there's nothing to complain about, then the average person typically indulges in making excuses why things didn't go their way or the way they had expected. They will make excuses for their mistakes. They make excuses for results. They make excuses for a lack of effort and their inability to focus. Here's the thing. If you don't like results that you have gotten, and maybe you put your best foot forward, but you still didn't like the results, in some of my leadership classes, I teach women how to backtrack that. I teach them how to backtrack it, because if you don't like the results and you keep doing the same thing expecting a different result, that's called insanity. One lady said, "No, LaShonda, it's crazy." And so I want to make sure that you don't keep doing the same thing to get the same results, but you got to be able to backtrack. So I show women how to get to the root of why they did not get the result that they were looking for. And so they will make excuses, like I said, for all of that. And excuses are very easy to make. Think about, when was the last time you made an excuse? Wasn't it easy? Excuses are easy. Everyone can make excuses. And as a result, most people do. And so taking responsibility and making an effort to improve the situation is the path rarely chosen. Rarely chosen. Remember I said, if they zig, you zag. If they zag, you zig, because you're not doing what the masses do. You know, it's the path that the path of really taking responsibility and making an effort to improve situations. Like I said, most people won't do that. But it's funny because it's the path that very few choose to take, yet it's the path that makes all the difference in the end. It's the path that makes all the difference in the end. So what advice do Coach LaShonda have for you to avoid that? Again, do the opposite. Immediately stop making excuses and start thinking in solution-oriented ways. And, you know, in solution-oriented ways to help you work through your problems far more effectively. One of the things I say and teach in my leadership trainings is, don't limit yourself to generating just one potential solution. Open your mind to generating potential solutions, because if the first one that you choose don't work, you can go back to your toolbox and continue to pull out some more until it is figured out. And if you pull out all of your options and nothing works, then you may want to consider, did you diagnose the problem, the real problem, right? So that's something to think about. Point number 12, we're moving right along. We only got a few more to go. Most people, and when I say most people, I'm talking about the masses, the average folks. We're not trying to be them. Most people quit when the going gets tough. The average person does not like problems. I've already established that today. They don't like any form of resistance. Yes, they will pursue certain goals and objectives. However, the moment they face a setback, they will very quickly quit, usually after the first attempt. The first attempt. And then they'll move on to something else. They'll be like, girl, that didn't work for me. You didn't even give it a good effort. You didn't even give it a good effort. It's almost like this. You decide you're going to plant a garden. And so you get the seed. Now, the package, the good thing about the packaging is the package does not show the seed on the outside. It shows the end result of the seed when you go in and buy a seed from a store. It shows you what the end result, so you can at least know what to expect from this little bitty seed that you're about to plant in the ground. So you take all this time cultivating the land, you put the seed in, water it, make sure it's in a place where there's great sunlight. So that's what you do on Monday. And then Tuesday shows up and maybe it's a thunderstorm. And then Wednesday shows up and there is no sprout, no anything. So you'd be like, man, this seed defective. As a matter of fact, that rain that came down got acid in it. It done tore my ground up. And so you just dig it up. People will say, that's ignorant. That is stupid. That doesn't make any sense. Why? You didn't give it enough time. And so it's so funny because when people go after their goals and the moments they face a setback, they quit after the first attempt and they move on to something else and wonder why they never accomplish their goals. So fear, uncertainty, and adversity. Listen, fear, uncertainty, and adversity often get the better of them. But adversity is also the mother of creativity. Sometimes some of our most creative moments come when we are in adverse situations and we got to figure our way out. You know, they say trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. Yeah, I heard that in the song before. That's what happens, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. You know, some of us, like myself, I grew up in a single parent home. And so my mom was always doing the miraculous thing. And that was before I knew about God. But it seemed like she was always pulling rabbits out of hats, right? Always pulling rabbits out of hats. As a single mom, she was always making it happen. My one single mom took care of 3 children. Always pulling rabbits out of hats. You know, we never went without as a single mom. And so that adversity opened up the door for her creativity. It'll do the same thing for you. And so, but this is of course great news if you're not average, because it means that there is far less competition to worry about. See, as long as you persist and persevere when things get tough. Isn't that something to think about? When things get tough, the majority of the people gonna quit, which means they eliminate themselves. They eliminate themselves out of the competition equation because they quit. So I don't want that for you. So what advice do Coach LaShonda have for you? You know what I'm going to say. Do the opposite, right? Do the opposite. Challenge yourself to persist and persevere, to never give up, and to overcome any setback that stand in your way. Overcome any setback that stand in your way. You can do it. How do I know? I'll tell you. Here comes the spiritual part of me. 1, I could do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. 2, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. 3, me plus God is the majority. 4, should I keep on going? Because I can. You know, 4, when God is on my side, when God is for me, who could be against me? Yeah. 5, I'm more than a conqueror. The Bible says God helps us to triumph, right? So challenge yourself to persist and persevere. Don't give up. Quitting is easy. Look, quitters never win and winners never quit, right? You can overcome setback. I've heard many thought leaders say that setback was a setup for your comeback. You know, it's really what you believe. And so that's what I have for point number 12. Point number 13, we only got a couple more to go. Point number 13. And if you're just joining us, you're like, 13? I did 1 through 8 yesterday. So that's why this is part 2. I didn't want to do it all in one because I just didn't want to do it all in one. So point number 13, most people have very low personal standards. The average person usually quit because they have very low standards and expectations of themselves. You don't expect much. You know, nothing from nothing leaves nothing. I hear people say, how do they put it? Prepare for the best, but expect the worst. Then why would I prepare for the best if I'm going to expect the worst? That doesn't make sense. No, I'm going to prepare for the best and I'm going to expect the best. How about that? Prepare for the best, expect the worst. Whoever came up with that slogan need to be hurt. They need to have a sit down. They need to go to the locker room and rethink that. All right. No, I'm gonna prepare for the best and I'm going to expect the best. Okay. So people who the average person, like I said, usually quit because they have very low expectations and standards for themselves. They simply don't expect much and don't have high enough standards that keep them motivated, so that they can move forward. It could even be said that most people sell themselves short. And you've heard that. We'd be like, and we say that with girl, don't you sell yourself short? Don't you sell, I mean, girl, don't you sell 2 pennies when you were 2 million, selling yourself short? And so we all have incredible ability and untapped potential. Every single one of us. I've heard it said often, the most, how do they put it? The most talented place in the world is the cemeteries, because most people die never tapping into their potential. All right. So few people make the most of their potential while the vast majority simply waste it away. The average person doesn't believe that they are destined for greatness. That's one of the things I love calling women greatness. Every time I've called a woman greatness for like the first time, it shocks them because they like I've never heard anyone call me greatness before. And so I make it my business to call women greatness. And then they begin calling themselves and other women greatness, right? And I'll say, there's a book I was reading and it had declarations in it. And she said, my name is attached to greatness. And what's amazing is it wasn't saying that I was just so great, but it's saying my name is attached to other great people. So my name is attached to greatness. Right. These average people, they don't believe that they are good enough, or able to perform a high enough level of consistency or consistently over time. And these are the beliefs that lay the foundation for their expectations and set the bar for their personal standards. With low standards and subpar expectations, they have very little fuel that keeps them moving forward. And so it just makes sense that they will quit. So what is the advice that myself, Coach LaShonda, I'm glad you all are loving this, would say to you? Again, I'm telling you, or I'm suggesting and asking you to consider, because I can't force you, do the opposite. Look, let me pause. Time out. That's how you do it. Time out. Share this broadcast. If you haven't already done so, it's okay. Can you share it now, because we're still live, and keep your comments going for those who are going to catch the replay. So I want you to do the opposite. That's my advice to you. For starters, take control of your expectations. What are you expecting? And commit yourself to raising your personal standards. Man, I wish I had it down here. I don't. Hold on, let me fix this. I don't, man, it's upstairs and I don't want to run upstairs. So anyway, take control of your expectations and commit yourself to raising your personal standards. If you're here, go here. There's still increase, right? Expect the very best of yourself and discipline yourself to go after what you want most in life. What you want most in life. What's going to make you happy? What's going to get you to a point where you wake up in the morning, you have a smile, you're walking in expectancy, right? You got to do that for you. It's not about what other people think. It's about you. All right. That's why I teach women living authentically. It's all about living authentically, free from fear, guilt, and apologies. Living authentically. Point number 14, just a couple more to go. Most people struggle financially. And I know everybody is in COVID, and so more people may find themselves in that position. But guess what? Everybody didn't struggle during COVID. Some people increased during COVID. Some people increased during COVID. Some people started a business during COVID. So the average person struggles financially. It's not because they are unlucky or unfortunate to have been brought up in an underprivileged family. It's simply because they spend more money than they earn. So, in other words, they live above their means. They make purchases on credit without having a realistic plan for paying the debt back. The Bible says, "Owe no man nothing but to love him." The vast majority of their lives is spent trying to work their way out of debt. If only they chose to make a different set of choices and decisions, or maybe you're drawing a line in the sand today. If only you will choose, right? Make it present, to make a different set of choices and decisions, then just maybe the financial struggles would be a thing of the past. And so, what is Coach LaShonda's advice? Do the opposite. Commit yourself to being savvier when it comes to your financial decisions. Savvier. And you could be in debt, but that don't mean you have to continue to accumulate it, right? Commit yourself to being savvier with your financial decisions. Learn more about money and how to manage your finances more effectively. Again, my mentor said, LaShonda, do the things today that others won't so you can have tomorrow what others don't. Okay. Point 15, we only got these two left. Most people don't exercise regularly. I said it. The average person dabbles in exercise. They will try to exercise regularly, but life just kind of gets in the way and ruins their 101 attempt, right? It ruins their attempt. So yes, they will start over and over and over again, but with no consistency. They gain very little value and almost nothing to show for their efforts. And that was absolutely me at one point, right? I'm working now to make exercise a part of my day to day because, like I was saying yesterday, successful people, their morning routine is everything. And the morning routine, includes meditation, exercise, getting up on time, and visualizing. That's a great morning routine. So what is Coach LaShonda's advice for overcoming point number 15? Self-discipline, commitment, and consistency. Yep. Those are the key to developing a regular exercise regimen that can help you become a healthier version of yourself. There's no wealth without health. It's still nothing, right? Wealth without health is nothing. And so do a little something. We're not saying 2 hours. Can you do something for 5 minutes every day this week? Then it boost it up to 10 minutes every day the following week. And then 15 minutes every day. Hey, listen, slow and steady still wins the race. And so point number 16, most people eat based on pleasure, not health. So it's so interesting. The last portions is all about your personal body. These last few was all about this right here. Because if you don't protect the temple, then the others that I talked about is meaningless because you got to protect the temple. And so the average person is very much focused on instant gratification and easily draws into the fleeting pleasures of the moment. Girl, you know what? I need to buy this purse. Girl, you know what? I need to book. No discipline, right? So as such, they will often choose to eat foods based on the pleasure and satisfaction they gain in the moment rather than on the long-term health benefits of eating that food. I remember I like smoothies, and I would buy these smoothies that you fix at home, and it was all about the taste. It was all about the taste. Ooh, this smoothie tastes good. I'm adding all this extra stuff in there. It ain't healthy at all. But then eventually I said, you know what? I need to do better about this. And so I started getting plant-based smoothies. And up front, it didn't taste so well. Now it's delicious, to me, because I know I'm getting a certain amount of protein. I'm getting this, I'm getting this. That's what fuels me, right? And so, especially when I'm over here declaring that my youth is renewed like the eagle. That ain't gonna happen miraculously. But me declaring that, because one is in the word of the Lord, but me declaring that is also helping me take the proper action steps. So my youth is renewed like the eagle. And so, what's more, like I said, um, that average person will tend to overindulge on these foods that's not benefiting them, and will often overeat in an attempt to satisfy their taste buds. And as we know, the average person typically struggles with their weight, and as a result, find it more difficult to get into a consistent exercise regimen. And so it's just a vicious cycle that the average person struggles to break free from. And so all of that lack of discipline carries in all the other areas of their life. So at some point, you got to get disciplined and then allow that to permeate through your life. So for what is Coach LaShonda's advice for this? Do the opposite. Make dietary choices based on what's healthy rather than on what's simply tasty, right? You could even have the best of both worlds. You can have what's healthy and what's tasty, right? Just know what you're doing. And so, in conclusion, thank you so much for being a part of this 2-day series. Everything we have discussed here, like I said yesterday, it comes down to one simple yet profound decision that most people make over and over again throughout the day. And that decision comes down to whether or not you make decisions based on feeling or whether you're going to make decisions based on logic. The average person makes decisions based on how they feel. They make decisions based on what feels comfortable at the moment rather than on what's most important or best for them in the long run. So, in other words, they make decisions purely on satisfying their emotional cravings rather than just really using logic to make smarter choices throughout the day. And so, if there is one thing to take away from this two-part series, is that you always have a choice. You can either choose to be average and thereby live an average and unsatisfying life, which I know you don't want that in your life, or you can choose an alternate path for yourself. You can instead choose to do the opposite of average and begin making decisions based on what's most important for you in the long run. And only in this way can we turn an average existence into an extraordinary life, right? And so I'm excited for you, because if you put these two, if you put these two together, the 2 days, and just really dig deep, because look, if you have some areas in or some habits or something that did not serve you in 2020, if you don't get it and face it, you're going to carry it into 2021. And if it did not serve you in 2020, there's no way it's going to serve you in 2021. So this is where you gotta, what they say, have a come to Jesus with yourself. You gotta look yourself. Michael Jackson said, the man in the mirror. This is where we look ourselves and say, is number one holding me back? Is point number two what Coach LaShonda say holding me back? Have I been operating in 3, 4, 5, and 6, or have I allowed 7, 8, 9, 10 to really make me live this average existence? Is 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 something that I need to address in my life? Take a look at all of them and just check mark. Now, you could be excelling in some of them. You're like, that ain't no problem for me. But then there are others that you can say, I really need to address this. Do it for you. Do it for you. Do it for your family. Do it for your legacy, right? But just do it. Just do it, because you always have a choice. All right. And so if you all are in a situation where you're like, you know, LaShonda, I need to talk a little bit more about that, you know, feel free to book a complimentary coaching session with me. I would love to kind of connect with you to kind of try to help you pinpoint, because sometimes just having an outside third party who is trained to hear what you're saying, but also what you're not saying, and trained to ask you questions so that you can get to the root of what's happening. If that is you, then you know what? I don't know if I have it on here. You can feel free to, let me see if I have it here. Oh, I do. Yeah. Feel free to get a free coaching session. Just go to www.LaShondaLee, that's my name, LaShondaLee .com, www.LaShondaLee.com. That's my name. All right. So go and you can book you a free complimentary coaching session. And I would love to just chat with you. It's 30 minutes, so we ain't doing an hour. I can actually get it done in 15 minutes, to be honest with you. I can get it done in 15 minutes because this is the work that God has called me to do. And so I can hear what the Holy Spirit is saying, and I can get the thing done in 15 minutes, but I give you 30 minutes because I know sometimes you all like to talk. So if that's you, you go and you will see my calendar. Now you do have to answer some questions because I want to get an idea, because I want to maximize time. I want to really get an idea of what's going on so that we can spend the majority of that time zeroing in on what's happening with you. But like I said, you know, I love to see women living authentically. And my contribution to that is to help women who struggle with getting unstuck, discover resilience so they own their brilliance and live life free from fear, guilt, apologies. And so creating those unique action plans is the key that I've seen to helping women live life happy, successful, and fulfilled. So feel free to do that. I feel free to go if that's something that you want. It is definitely there and available to you. Okay, so I'm looking at the comments now. But other than that, everybody, I'm good. I hope this was good for you. We got it done in less than an hour. So, like I said, during the mornings is when you will hear me really talk about spiritual development. But during the evenings, I am going to talk about more personal and professional development. And I'm going to work to make it series. You know, so this series was called How to Avoid Attracting What You Don't Want in Your Life. That is a series. So it's part 1 and part 2. So I'm going to do it in series just so that you don't have to try to get everything in one setting. And if you miss a setting, it's okay, because you can always go back. You can always go back and you can pick it up. You know, you can look into the replay. All right. So with that, I don't see any comments, which means I probably did a pretty good job. But cool. What I am going to do is type this in here so it can be a part of the comments. I'm just putting it in because I realized we got different platforms that's on with me tonight. All right. So, all right. So those of you again who are on Facebook, thank you for joining me tonight. Those on Twitter and Periscope, thank you for joining me tonight. Those of you who are on YouTube, thank you so much for joining me. I pray that you can really take from this and just grow. Before you go, please make sure that you share this broadcast. Do me a favor and share the broadcast. And I will be absolutely so grateful for that. So listen, enjoy your evening, and I look forward to seeing you Tomorrow's Tuesday. I may come on Wednesday morning. So either tomorrow, between Tuesday and Thursday, I'll get a regular schedule for you all, so that you will know exactly when I am going to come on. All right. So listen, God bless you. May heaven's face continue to shine on you. And remember that you don't need permission to be great. You already have that permission. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.